What's up, guys? This is Astranox. Balance adjustment. Yo, 8th of July. A lot of stuff is going to change. Unexpected buffs. Let's look at who's getting buffed. Okay, we got 8 heroes. We have 2 artifacts. We got Martial Artist Can, Operator Sigrid. Did she really need a buff? Holiday Euphine, Violet going to be insane. Elena, Sid, my boy Sid. Finally, he's getting his buff. I thought he would get one day. You know, we don't see him getting used much. I personally love to use him. Can't wait to try him again. Helga, pretty nice buff. Mercenary Helga. Doctor's Bag. Okay, now that's gonna be a powerful artifact. And of course, man, like they gotta like make garbage artifact kind of like, well, maybe not overpowered, but yeah, it's actually quite solid. Shepherd of the Hollow is actually looking very powerful as well. So let's look at it here together. So Martial Artist Can, with his passive, he's getting 30% effect resistance. That's actually huge. If you're trying to get 200% plus effect resistance, that's definitely going to help you quite a bit. And he actually gets combat readiness when his skill number 3 is not on cooldown. Now, this could be a nerf because he's going to go faster, which means he's going to lose his immunity set, and then he can get crippled to hell, right? But if they're already taking out his immunity and then just landing a bunch of debuffs, then with this buff, he's actually going faster, so he's going to be able to use skill 3. With Sigurd Sights, he's going to be able to top himself off or something like that, right? And something insane now is that he actually has crit chance built into the skill number 3. So he counterattacks and he will, you know, crit your face if you landed a crit on him. But now his skill 3, he has, you know, critical hit on that. So that means you can just build him more tanky, and that's going to be extremely dangerous. Man, yeah, ML can definitely watch out for him after the buff. Operator Sigrid. Okay, she didn't need some buffs, but here we go. She now scales off of speed. So yeah, more damage. So that's another multiplier for her. So she's going to hit harder because a lot of players are building her with speed. You want to put the attack buff on your team. And yeah, you can use her as an initiator, right? She downs someone with skill 2 into the skill number 3 if she already has attack buff, or you know, she opens with skill number 3 with the CR pushback, the combat genius pushback on skill number 3. Extremely powerful stuff. And now what's even more crazy is that she ignores effect resistance with the skill number 3. Now that I can't believe that because now she doesn't have to deal with the 15% innate resist. You just straight up ignore effect resistance if they have a barrier. Like they need to have a barrier for that to actually happen. But man, like that means you can potentially, if you have attack buff, nuke someone, take out someone like the Fallen Cecilia, and then the skill number 3, ignore effect resistance. So that means you will decrease buff duration by 1 turn, and you will push back combat genius by 20%. Like this is happening, right? Unless they you miss your attack, unless they evade, right? She's already at elemental neutral, so extremely powerful, man. Like they are making heroes like sort of like must get with these buffs, and that's well, it will generate more money for them, so that's always good, right? Okay, Holiday Euphine. Now she's got a better chance to land burn on skill number 1, so that's good. She definitely needed a buff. She does see a lot of play actually. Holiday Euphine, right? Like when she got released, a lot of players called her garbage, and I tested her like in different teams, and she was working quite well actually. Like I was able to make her work the way she was intended to work, right? So you just put the artifact on her, limited artifact from Guild to Gear collaboration, you have more chance to burn, and it works beautifully, man. Like if you land your burns, of course, like they need to land, that's the thing. So now actually her passive, she now has 20% evasion. Like that's a passive, it's always there. And then if she's at maximum health, she gets an additional 50% evasion. So can you imagine that? 70% evasion when she's at maximum health. And there's always that 20% evasion that could mess things up, even if she's not at maximum health. So definitely a nice ability increase right there, and she's gonna be annoying, right? Like players are building her a bit tanky or fairly tanky or quite a bit tanky. And yo, like you can have her on a burn build, you can have her on a stun build. And now the skill number 3 has a soul burn. It's now decreased cooldown by 2 turns. So it's a 4-turn cooldown with skill ups, and it will become a 2-turn cooldown with the 10 soul burn. So that's actually really good. I like that. Definitely going to see more play. And well, actually, yeah, it's definitely the survivability increase from the evasion that is the biggest part in these buffs for her. Now, Violet, guys, he is actually insane. Like, he's crazy. That's just insane what he's actually getting. So when it's not his turn, right, he's getting 15% combativeness when he uses the skill number 1. So right counter attack, and he gains double focus. So that's perfect because the way he now works with the other buffs. So look at this. Now the skill number 2, he gets perception, which is a new buff introduced in the game, which gives 15% crit chance and 15% critical hit damage. Now that is a lot of value right there. That is 5 perfect rolls, right? Like, well, 1% more crit damage, but like that's initially like 5 perfect rolls of stats into that perception buff, which cannot be dispelled. And he now gets 3 souls instead of 2. And look at this thing. Butterfly Cut, the skill number 3, right? When Butterfly Cut is available, increases evasion by 35%, and after successfully evading, counterattacks with Graceful Cut. The beautiful thing here is that that's available. That means he has the evasion. So straight off the bat, you start the battle, he will have it. You don't need to eat the apple with the skill number 2, right? You don't need to have the dual accepted being used. So you don't need to build speed on him. That skill 3 will be available straight off the bat. He will have the evasion, and with Moonlight Dreamblade, if he evades, that means he gets attack buff and he starts to counterattack. And he's getting 2 focus instead of 1. So that means he's gonna be able to use this skill number 3 with the additional effect of when 5 focus is consumed, reset cooldown of Butterfly Cut, which is something you must do. You want to do that because if it's available again straight off the bat, that means you get the 35% evasion again. So very big survivability increase for Violet, and we'll definitely see more play out of him. And I can't wait to, it's gonna be annoying. I like to play cleave. I like fast battles, and if they draft like a Violet in there, I mean, Remnant Violet's already annoying, but imagine both of them. Oh god, Elena. Okay, now this is actually quite interesting because she's giving 20% damage reduction for the rest of the team. Like when there's an attack that targets all enemies, like any ally will have 20% damage reduction instead of 15. And she's now getting 20% combat shrewdness when she triggers Consecrated Ground. We know about Magahara's Tome on her, giving her combat shrewdness of 30%, right, when it's maxed out. Now she gets 20% out of that. So what that means is that you don't even need to have Magahara's Tome on her. You can just, with the buff, she has 20% already built in. So just build more speed on her. There you go. That's the artifact built in into her kit, which is extremely powerful. Elena was quite strong already, and she's going to be stronger. And with the buffed up Doctor's Bag, could definitely be a solid artifact to have on her, especially versus teams that use Carrot. The overpowered Carrot, which didn't get nerfed. But yes, they will introduce more counter to her. Create a problem and release the solutions. So Sid here, my boy, man, only a 4-star, such an amazing hero. Been using him since the game got released. God, he's amazing, and he's gonna get even better. So the skill number, this is what? Skill number 1. When the caster is granted increased speed, uses Whirlwind instead of Relentless Strike. So before that, the skill 1 was upgraded into a different attack, which was the skill number 2, the passive, which you could skill up to boost the damage of that enhanced attack, right? But now all the skill enhancement you do with the skill number 1 will affect the skill 1 and the enhanced version, which is Whirlwind. So now it will use Whirlwind if you do have a speed buff. Whirlwind attacks the enemy repeatedly, decreasing defense by 1 turn. Damage dealt increases proportional to the caster's speed. So what changes here is that actually, the beautiful thing is that here, the passive. Critical hit gives a speed buff for the caster for 1 turn. So that means when you use the skill 3, you will have speed buff if you didn't have it, if you don't have a speed buffer in your team. And that means his skill number 1 will already be the enhanced version, which is Whirlwind, which means he has the potential chance to land Defense Break and also deals additional damage because it's Whirlwind deals more damage than the non-enhanced version. So that means he's going to be more deadly when you don't even have speed buff in the team, because you will get it. As soon as you land a critical hit, you just get speed buff for 1 turn. Now, before that, it was 2 turn speed buff when he uses the skill 1 if it lands as a critical hit. So I like this change actually, because it just sets up the turn number 2 to deal more damage. And we all know about the skill 3 into the skill number 1. When he downs someone, when you kill someone with skill 3, you get an extra turn. So it's going to be great. And also, 100% chance on this thing, if you have it fully skilled up, a random buff will be granted once per turn. And these buffs are very powerful. Look at this, critical hit damage buff. This is 50% crit damage increase. Of course, you cannot go over 350%. Increase effectiveness buff. So this is a 50% effectiveness increase. Increase evasion buff, 50% evasion. Extremely strong stuff. Okay, the effectiveness buff is the worst one, unless you don't have effectiveness and it helped you land the defense break. Debuff immunity, another powerful one. So yeah, I'm definitely liking these buffs right here, right? So now the skill enhancement for the passive wins resolve will be effect chance increase. So it is 70% base and it goes up to 100% chance to activate. So definitely like that, right? So if you down someone with skill 3, and these buffs are 100% chance to grant random buff for 1 turn. Yeah, so it will be granted at the start of the turn. So my God, could you imagine getting the critical hit damage buff before using the skill number 3, and then you soul burn that skill number 3? The damage will be even higher than before, and the skill 1 damage will be higher than before, because if you didn't have the speed buff. That is some great news right here. Definitely can't wait to try him out. So Helga, let's jump to Mercenary Helga, the specialty change version of Helga. So 60% chance to defense break for 2 turns on attack chain. So now her rune for attack chain before give her, like, it did give her the 60% chance to decrease defense for 2 turns, but that rune will be changed. So now the wedge rune, when using attack chain, if all allies are earth elemental heroes, increases the chance to decrease defense by 20%. So if you're using a mono earth team, full team of earth heroes, you know, you're in there versus Ice Expedition, you know, you are in there versus Banshee, let's say. So that's good. More chance to land defense break on the skill number 2, which I believe has a 2-turn cooldown. Now, and she has defense break on skill 1 as well. Definitely a very powerful hero, especially with this buff right here for the skill number 3, Cry of Victory. Increase combativeness of the caster by 50% after using that. And my beef with Helga was that she was not dealing enough damage. She was not doing enough. So she buffs and then you gotta wait a whole turn, right? But now with the 50% combativeness increase, definitely gonna be good to get her back in there and start doing some damage. So we'll see more damage out of Helga, which I like. Doctor's Bag. Now this, man, when they buff stuff like complete garbage, unusable state before, and make like the item or the hero like overpowered or like really good or almost a must-have, right? Well, it's kind of unfortunate when that happens, right? Dispels 1 debuff from all allies and recovers 14% of each ally's maximum health. So you gotta remember, this is a 5-star artifact. It needs to be maxed out to get 14% recovery, right? It will be less than that if you don't have it maxed out. So there's that to remember. And after using a non-attack skill, can only be activated once every 3 turns. So it might be good to have a delay like that. I mean, it would be way too good if it was less than 3 turns. This is not a must-have, actually. This you're gonna be fine without this artifact. So Weavers have very strong artifacts, but you put that on Elena versus like Terra, then you know, multitude of team that land a bunch of debuffs. It could definitely be strong, especially when you have heroes that are bruisers with very high amount of health. Healing based on the target's max health is a very powerful thing right there. So yeah, definitely a usable artifact now. Okay, Shepherd of Hollow, the second artifact getting buffed. Increase evasion by 20%. This is gonna be there no matter the level of the artifact. So at plus 15 with just 1 copy, that is that's strong. That's really strong. Now the damage dealt increased by 12% when attacking, and as the health decreases, damage dealt increases up to 24%. That's the maximum. Now this is at plus 30, fully limit broken at plus 30. So what do you expect at plus 15? It's going to be damage increased by 9%, and it's going to be up to 18% more damage. So it's actually good enough already, because you already have the 20% evasion. So we'll see more players using Shepherd of the Hollow now on on their teeth. So yeah, definitely a nice buff right here, and you're not forced to have this thing maxed out to make it usable, because the biggest part of it is the evasion increase, which is already at 20% no matter the level. So overall, all these buffs, yeah, unexpected stuff, right? Like we got ML Sigrid, like that's weird. That's definitely weird seeing her. Like I feel like this is sort of like a Cerise buff. She was already like very good. Now they made her broken, I think. So that's unfortunate. ML Can getting out of the immunity buff might be problematic, but overall I think this buff, especially the fact that he lands a critical hit with the skill number 3, you don't need to build crit chance on him, make him more tanky, especially with high effect resistance. That's the biggest thing. And you put Strike Gauntlet on him, right? Effect resistance out of that, effect resistance from the passive 30%, easy peasy 200% effect resistance plus, 250, 300. He's definitely going to be deadly, man. Like, watch out for ML Can. How do you Euphine? Euphine, yeah, nice buff right there. Nothing completely insane, but great survivability increase from the evasion. Violet's going to be broken. Elena, definitely more powerful. Sid, can't wait to try him. More damage. Yeah, man, that crit damage buff, baby. Oh, yeah. Okay, well, that's going to be it for this one, guys. Let us know what you guys think about these buffs. If you're looking for an emulator, a new phone, or you're simply hungry, check the description of the video. I'm Astranox. Good luck with all you do. Peace out for now.